This is Dewey Casco from RK Lighting in Downers Grove, Illinois. We're a production company specializing in different events, from small concerts to corporate events to festivals. And a couple years ago when we were at LDI, we saw Mode demonstrating their first concept of the wireless motor, and we thought that would be pretty intriguing. Then the next year when we went to LDI, we really had some discussions with them, and when we got back from the show, we decided they would be something that would be a great addition to our inventory. So we brought, I believe, 8 of them in to start, and used them on our first functions, a lot of school dances, and the amount of time that it saved us was amazing. The fact that we could put points up without the distro being up, no cables involved. They work flawless. They were so smooth in running. We were really impressed. So therefore we started telling all the other companies in our general area about them. So they got very interested and came out to see them. And so we ended up placing another order for another 12, some going to another company. And then we had more companies ordering them. And just the convenience of them being wireless for us has been allowed us to use them in many different applications and where we might not use a motor before. So for example, where you might use a chain hoist in a place where we had no 3-phase power, we're using one of the Mode motors now. And then we're on festival stages. It's just so much quicker to be able to set up. We don't have to run miles of motor cable. The way that we bring things in and out as far as our setup has become more efficient because we don't have to wait and have a distro live the entire time when we're packing up, because these are wireless battery powered motors. We can do it without any power on there. Now, we've had a few issues here and there, but the guys at Mode have been really good about addressing everything with us. And we got a couple of things squared away that are continuing to improve the motors. And we're really looking forward to see how the features progress on these motors. And I know that we're going to be adding a lot more to our inventory over time. When you think about what these do, the price point that they're at compared to a CM, there's no motor cable, doesn't require 3-phase power, so you're eliminating a huge motor distro, you're eliminating pendants. The big yellow pendant cable, which if anybody's bought the yellow pendant cable, know how expensive that pendant cable is. And then all the motor cable and socket PEX ends and the weight that's associated with that are all removed from our events when we use these motors. I can't say enough good things about them. The one thing that we've seen out in the field, some of the things that we're hoping that will be improved in the future is maybe a little physical control for some redundancy potentially. And but yeah, for us, they've been workhorses, and our partners that we use for sound have used them all summer long and have saved them hours and hours of setup, takedown, work, truck pack, everything like that. In order to connect these guys up, we have a Wi-Fi network set up that comes pre-configured from Mode, and it'll show up on your device as Mode router. And so we're connected to that. And then we have the Mode app. So our Freehoist comes up and you can see possible motors that might be on. When I turn this on, this motor is going to now look to communicate with my application through the router, and there it came up. So now this motor is live on there, and you can see it shows us the battery on there. And then if I walk over to the other one, I'm going to turn that guy on, and that guy should show up in my app briefly. And there he is. So I've got 2 motors that are available to me right now, and in order to control those, I need to click on that device, and I'm going to click on both of them so I can control them both at the time. When they turn red, it means I have control of them. So just a little up on the application, and up they go. The minute I release my hand, they stop. So the minute they don't see any connection, the motor will stop. Then I can take them down on there, And then if I wanted to, I could put these into a group. Now they're in my group 1, and I'm able to control that group together. Once again, down, and then up with that guy. And then if I deselect them, I'm not allowed to control any of the motors because none of them are selected at this point. So if I go to a motor also, and I can go to my device details, it'll tell me all about the device and what I need to do with it, what group it's in, what number it is. And I can click that again. I can edit my number if I want to change the number of the group on there. So if I wanted him to put him to number 1, I can go ahead and confirm that. Now he's number 1. If I want to go to the other one and say I want to edit that number and I want to make that motor 2, I can confirm that. Now I've got motor 1 and motor 2 on there. And now the other thing too is everything from the router from mode comes pre-configured. But if you want to set up your own network, what you can do is you can go ahead and change these motors to be your own SSID and password. And once we change the motors, the motor will store that. And if we power cycle it down, power cycle it up, now the motor will be looking for your specific SSID and password. So that allows you security to create your own networks and keep your motors from anybody else that might have the same type of motors on the show. Or if you want different control for, let's say, upstage and downstage, you can separate your SSIDs and use multiple modems and multiple devices to then control your motors. That way you can have more than one person controlling groups of motors on that. And ours, we have ours set up to a RK Lighting specific SSID and password so that we know what motors are ours when we're on site. So one of the things we've been asked about since we had these motors is what happens if we have connection problems with the application and the motor. Will they still work safely? Well, what should happen is that if you lose connection at any point in the system, the motors should stop running. So we are going to show you how that performs. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the motors up in action, and then we're going to have Sam disconnect the modem, which will basically take all the connection out from the whole system, and the motors should stop running. All right, so motors are moving up right now. Sam's got the modem up, and now he's going to unplug that. And the minute that it loses connection, the motor should stop. Once we reconnect the motors and the router comes back up, all connections should be established, and we should have full control of the motors once again. Okay, so Sam restarted the modem, and then all my devices came back online. And now once again, I have full control of my whole system. It's good.
Great.
It's good, yeah.
Okay.